Today, we're diving into one of the most common sights in modern medicine, but one we almost never think about, the IV bag. We're going to explore the hidden world of sterile preparation, a place where one tiny mistake, well, it's just not an option. Okay, so we've all seen this, right? In a hospital, on TV, it's a symbol of healing, and it's so common we just take it for granted. But what if I told you that simple-looking bag is the end result of a process that is incredibly complex and unbelievably high stakes? I mean, think about it. When something is going straight into your bloodstream, mostly safe or good enough just doesn't cut it, right? Perfection is the only standard that matters. So how do they actually pull that off every single time? To really get how they do this, we've got to first understand why it's so critical. The dangers here are completely invisible, but they are deadly serious. This first part is all about why perfection is truly the only option. And this right here is the absolute key. You see, when you swallow a pill, it has to get past your stomach acid, your digestive system, all of your body's natural defenses. But an IV drug, it goes straight into the vein. It completely bypasses all of those barriers. There's no filter, no second line of defense. And yeah, this is what's on the line. We're not talking about a small rash or an upset stomach. A single microscopic germ that doesn't belong there, it can be catastrophic. The margin for error is literally zero. So how in the world do you fight an enemy you can't even see? Well, you do it with an invisible shield, and that shield has a name, aseptic technique. It's not just one thing, it's a whole system, a philosophy really, designed to stop contamination before it can even start. And believe it or not, the first line of defense isn't even a technique, it's the room itself, a specially built environment that's basically a fortress against the microscopic world. So if you look at this map, you'll see the clean room isn't just one big room. It's actually a series of zones, each one cleaner than the one before it. You can see the intended flow moving from the outer anteroom into that core buffer area. It's all about creating a one-way street toward total sterility. Think of it like you're entering a high-security vault. You start in the anteroom. That's the outer chamber where all the prep and gowning up happens. Then you pass into the buffer area. That's the inner sanctum. That's where the magic happens. Every step you take brings you into a cleaner, more controlled world. Okay, but what does clean even mean here? Well, get ready for this because this chart is just, wow. The air you're breathing right now has about 35 million tiny particles in every cubic meter. The buffer area, under 352,000. And inside the special hood where the IV is actually made, only 3,520. That is 10,000 times cleaner than normal room air. It's almost unbelievable. You know, the crazy thing is, the biggest threat to this pristine environment isn't dust from outside. Nope, it's the person themselves. That's why getting ready isn't just about putting on some gear. It's a strict, step-by-step ritual. Before you can even think about going in, you basically have to leave the outside world well outside. No jewelry, no makeup, no sweaters, not even your phone. Why? Because every little thing, a flake of foundation, a tiny fiber from your jacket, is like a little taxi for germs.
And the order you put this stuff on, it is absolutely critical. It all follows one simple rule. You go from the dirtiest items to the cleanest. You start with your shoes to contain whatever you walked in on, then hair and face. Then, after an intense hand washing, the sterile gown goes on. The very last thing, the sterile gloves, right before you start.
And I gotta be clear, when we say hand washing, this isn't your sing happy birthday twice kind of wash. No, this is a full-on 40 to 60 second surgical scrub. It's a systematic procedure designed to clean every single surface of your hands, your wrists, all the way up your forearms. All right, the technician is prepped, they're gowned, they're in the inner sanctum. Now comes the moment of truth. This is the most critical phase, where every single movement is the difference between a safe medication and a contaminated one. This right here is the star of the show, the laminar airflow hood. Air gets sucked through a massive HEPA filter, which strips out virtually all particles. It then blows that perfectly clean air in a smooth, continuous sheet, or lamina, across the workspace, constantly washing it clean and pushing any potential contaminants away. And this slide perfectly illustrates why everything depends on that airflow. Look at the image on the left. When something blocks that clean air, it creates turbulence, little whirlpools that can suck dirty room air into the sterile field. But on the right, with everything placed correctly, that clean air bathes everything, protecting. Really, it all boils down to one simple golden rule. Never, ever let anything, not your hands, not a vial, nothing, block the path between that clean air filter and the sterile parts you're working with. It's a concept called first air, and it's non-negotiable. And I mean everything. Look at this warning. It could not be clearer. The very tip of the syringe and the plunger that slides in and out, those are critical sterile sites. You accidentally touch them and the whole thing is compromised. You have to start over, period. In practice, it's like a carefully choreographed dance. Every surface is wiped with alcohol. The needle goes into the vial at a specific 45-degree angle. This is cool, to prevent it from punching out a tiny piece of the rubber stopper, which is called coring. Then the medicine is drawn up, and every bubble is removed before the volume is checked again. Precise, deliberate, perfect. But hang on, we're not done yet. Even after all of that perfect technique, there are still a few more safety nets in place to make absolutely sure that everything is exactly as it should be. First up, a visual inspection. The final product is literally held up against both light and dark backgrounds just to spot any tiny particles that shouldn't be there. The label is checked, then double-checked against the original order. And here's the final gatekeeper. Not a single IV bag leaves that pharmacy until a licensed pharmacist has personally inspected it and given the final okay. And, this isn't like passing a test once and you're good for life. These technicians are constantly being evaluated. They do things like media fill tests to simulate the process and fingertip sampling, where they literally press their gloved fingertips onto a petri dish after they're done to prove they were sterile. It's all about constant vigilance. So from the air that's 10,000 times cleaner than normal, to the step-by-step ritual of getting dressed, all the way to that final pharmacist sign-off, it's this whole hidden world, right? A world of precision, all designed to fight an invisible enemy. The next time you see an IV bag, maybe you'll see a little bit of that invisible world of incredible care that went into making it perfectly safe.